Phonsavan, gateway to the Plain of Jars and the historical provincial capital Muang Kun. Our sightseeing day began with a stop at the Phonsavan open food market. From there, we travelled on to the Plain of Jars Site 1, followed by Site 2 and Site 3. Next, we went to the old capital, Muang Kun, before returning to our hotel. We arrived from Vientiane in the afternoon. The small Phonsavan airport had an interesting baggage reclaim. Soon we had all our bags and headed to the hotel. Our first stop in the morning was the open-air market. It was bustling with traders and customers. Much of the produce is familiar, some is not. Like live frogs, these unidentified bodies, strange sausages, and miscellaneous kebabs of birds. Next, we visited the Plain of Jars, Site 1. There are over 90 jar sites in the Jianghuang province, but most remain unsafe because of unexploded ordnance. Here's one bomb crater. And another. During the Vietnam War, the US dropped more bombs on Laos than were dropped during the whole of the Second World War, and this included over 250 million cluster bombs. Fortunately, most of the jars have survived. They're in groups and come in various sizes. They date from the Iron Age and are thought to have been used for food storage or as funerary urns. Archaeological evidence shows this cave was used for cremation. The cave has a man-made chimney hole. Cremation remains were then transferred to the jars. It's thought that most of the jars had perishable covers, but odd ones have stone lids. We left Site 1 and were driven to Site 2. Jars here are larger and lie in a wooded area. Stone for the jars comes from about 10 kilometres away, and it seems amazing that people 2,500 years ago transported all these several-ton objects here. Another lid. The second cluster of jars at Site 2 are just clear of the trees. To reach Site 3, we walked across paddy fields. Mag markers beside the track show where unexploded ordnance has been removed. There are over 100 jars here, and they're much smaller than those at Site 2. We stopped here for lunch before travelling on to Muang Kun. It was a rich royal seat in the 16th century, but war, plunder and bombing have destroyed its treasures. All that remains of Wat Phaya Wat is a Buddha image and a few ruined columns. More recent destruction is this French colonial residence, bombed in 1953 and now just this empty shell. Also little remains of the 62 opulent stupas. There's been some reconstruction here, but this is just rubble. We returned to Phonsavan for the evening. The next morning we had an early start for the long drive through the winding mountain roads to Luang Prabang. The nature of the roads caused 2 minibuses to be used instead of a coach. Initially, progress was rapid. But as we began to climb, the roads became more tortuous. With occasional oncoming vehicles causing us to stop. After a couple of hours we reached our coffee stop. We enjoyed stretching our legs and were fascinated to see these small creatures being prepared for lunch.
Do you like this?
I don't eat it. No,
oh, right.
But locals eat it.
Why don't you eat it?
I just don't want it.
You don't want to eat it as opposed to you don't like the taste? Yeah. I know what you mean. I'm with you.
We were soon underway, and before long stopped at a village occupied by the Hai Lao or Hmong people. This ethnic minority lives mainly in the hills in northern Laos. Their timber and thatch houses are scattered around the hillside. People go about their daily lives as we wander through their village. Children play. We went inside one of the houses.
Yeah, go ahead, come in, please.
A simple shelter and store.
Middle Lao, they call them Kamut. High Lao is the Hmong.
The children looked at us with curiosity and waved goodbye to us as we headed back to our minibuses. Another stop before driving on to Pukun for lunch.
Restaurant stop.
Then another couple of hours of mountain roads, occasional overtaking, before we reached Luang Prabang.